Adam, welcome to noise11.com. Very exciting to hear that we will be having Counting Crows back in Australia in 2023.
Yeah, cannot wait to come back.
You've been a regular visitor down here for, pretty much the last 30 years.
Yeah, I wish we'd done more tours though. We didn't start until late, but it's always been so great, and it's just been a pleasure to come back each time.
Well, it's quite the catalogue to, perform, when you put your set list together. At the moment, the new music is But a Miracle Suite 1, and that's been taking up a chunk of the set list, hasn't it? The four tracks in sequence as part of the set
Yeah.
list.
It's kind of a centerpiece to me. I don't know if it is to the fans. Sometimes I think it is. More and more, I feel like when we start the Tall Grass, they know what it is. Um, you know, it's harder to play new music now than it used to be. I don't mean just nowadays. Like when I was growing up, we were always so freaked out about bands' new music, but we were listening to the radio and hearing new songs a lot. I think now you listen to Spotify, you listen to what you're already familiar with for the most part. So people are a little less open to new stuff, but I think it's a really cool chunk of the set, you know, when we
Yeah.
play it.
What really struck me when I heard it for the first time was how much it sounds like Counting Crows, and like that sounds like a funny thing to say, but the point being that you've had such a stable lineup in this band for such a long period of time.
Five of us have been playing most of the time together for 30 years now, and even the two newer guys, it's 10 or 15 years, so it's been a long time with all of us together. And yeah, so I think we are very much a unit. We've been a band for most of my adult life. More than half of my life. I've been in Counting Crows for more of my life than I haven't been in Counting Crows. You know?
On the But a Miracle suite, Bobby and the Rat Kings, which would I imagine started off with you and a piano and the song just layered over that. Is that how it worked?
Yeah, all four of those I wrote on the piano. Um, but I'm usually writing on the piano, but hearing guitar. It was written for guitar always, especially Bobby, which was like I was really trying to make big Pete Townsend power chords at the beginning of that song. But yeah, I always heard a lot of times I write on piano, but I write for guitar.
Hmm.
I don't really more. I mean, I do write some songs for piano, but more often than not, I'm writing for guitar. It's what I hear in my head.
That's that piece of music, the four tracks from But a Miracle came, well, I guess 7 or 8 years after Somewhere Under Wonderland, which would have been the biggest chunk of time you've had in between new music ever.
Yeah, I just wasn't thinking about writing much during that. We were touring the whole time, so we were pretty busy. Uh, but I just wasn't really interested in writing for a while. I don't know. It just feels very fluid nowadays. You sort of just do whatever you want to do. I didn't feel on a schedule, and I wasn't sure that we really understood how to put out music in this modern day. Because I felt like we had one of the best record companies we've ever had on Somewhere Under Wonderland, and they did as good a job as I can imagine in doing, and it didn't make a huge impression in the culture. It did okay, but it didn't make the impression I wanted it to make, and I wondered if we just needed to figure that out.
Mm. I guess with Somewhere Under Wonderland, that was released not long after the 20th anniversary of the first album. And, we're about to, well, I guess hit uh, is it the 30th anniversary of August and Everything After is coming up next year?
Yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you mark anniversaries? Do they mean anything to you?
Nope. It's weird. I know they should. I just don't care. I'm interested in the fact that that band had been together for 30 years, but that was a couple years ago. Um, no, not really. I guess it just doesn't matter to me. I love the record. I love all of our records. Uh, I guess I just don't care whether it's been 10 or 20 years or 30 years, or it all seems very unreal to me, that stuff. And I've been playing them every night for all that time, anyways. So it's not like I missed them and didn't see them for a while. I don't know. No, it doesn't really matter to me. I struggle to care about that stuff, and I care about the band deeply, and all of our records very passionately. And when I play them on stage every night, I want them to be great, you know. But the just chunks of years, I don't know why. It just don't. It doesn't matter to me. I guess it feels like as I'm celebrating something that I've already done, as opposed to something I might do, you know.
Well, you certainly remind me of playing that first album on the radio in Melbourne all those years ago. When I think of August and everything after, and when Mr. Jones came out, it was a very exciting time for music, wasn't it? Because we'd had Nirvana that was happening like a year or two before the first Pearl Jam album had come out. I think in 1993, that first year, Snoop Dogg released his debut album. There was so much great music around at that point, wasn't there? It was all concentrated into a few years.
Yeah, but that's always true. I mean, there's always lots and lots and lots of great music. There's more nowadays than there used to be because there's more people making it. You know, it's so easy to make a record nowadays. You don't need a record company, you don't need a big studio, you don't need distribution. You can just put it up on Bandcamp. I feel like we're always drowning in great music. It's not always easy to find, but it's always a ton of it. I feel like art is infinite and never ending and always refreshing itself. You know, people are endlessly creative. And no matter what goes on in the world, there are always plenty of people who just are staying at home translating something inside themselves to something outside themselves. You know, whether they're painting a painting or writing a song or making a movie, I feel like it's the best part of the human race is that people make art, you know, and I find it just, I'm not very nostalgic about that stuff because there's always so much great stuff. You know, I saw Gang of Youths last year here, you know, and I still think they're the best band in the world right now. I think that Angel in Real Time is the best album anyone's made in years. You know, and it's funny. I've been staring into the face of a million writers on these Zoom conversations over the last few years, asking me who my favorite band is, and I'm telling them about this band that they've never heard of, and I'm trying to get them to listen to a record or go see a show when they come through town. But now I'm getting ready to go to New Zealand and Australia, so I realize as I'm talking about it that everyone there knows exactly who I'm talking about. But yeah, I mean, like, they're amazing. And they remind me of the best music I've heard in my life. Times when I was young and I stumbled upon REM for the first time and went to see them play like in 1983 and got my mind blown, you know, or the first time I saw Springsteen, you know, the first time I saw Gang of Youths, it was like that. I was like so stunned. I was just gobsmacked, you know, and then when I saw them again a few months ago, I was like, wow, that's just every bit as good as I thought it was the first time, you know. Now they're friends of mine, I know them, and it's like, still blew my mind. You know, I just think music is endlessly refreshed and new. You know, every year there's somebody who blows your mind that makes you think, wow, how is it still so great? You know?
Well, you show excellent taste, and what a great Australian band.
I'm on the record, so I'm proud of that. It's a self-promotion. I sang on the record, so yeah, they're one of my favorite bands, and he's now like my little brother. It's one of my best friends, you know. So yeah, it's nice.
It's interesting you're talking about the art and the association that you have also had as an executive producer of a movie with the Locusts, and just the way the songs are structured and the story that goes into every song. Do you consider like every song that you write to be almost like a little mini movie?
Kind of. I mean, I think you're trying to make it vivid enough that people don't actually need a visual. You know, that's what music is. Music's like a movie without it, with it you can watch with your eyes closed. You know, I feel like some more cinematic than others. You know, but that's the whole point of music, is kind of to take you the same way that a movie takes you somewhere, or a play or a book, but you can do it with your eyes closed. You know, and it's amazing about music.
Well, there's so much content that goes into the lyric of every song. Like if we go right back to Mr. Jones, for an example, like my understanding is Mr. Jones was actually a mate of yours. It's not based on the Dylan Mr. Jones, but there's associations between you and Dylan, with Jacob Dylan and the Wallflowers. New Amsterdam, I didn't even realize was a club or a pub or some sort of venue in San Francisco where you're from,
Yeah,
and I think Kenny Dale Johnson also has a bit of an association
yeah,
with
yeah.
that song. So there's a hell of a story that goes with just that one song.
Well, I mean, Marty's last name was Jones, but I definitely used the words Mr. Jones, which is his name, but something I never called him, because of the reference to Dylan. You know, that was an homage there to Dylan, to Ballad of a Thin Man. You know, I was definitely trying to, and there was at the time a Talking Heads song too.
Mr.
But
Jones.
I was, you know, to me, it was, you know, I was telling a story about my life, but also referencing Dylan. And at the same time, it's a song about dreaming about being a rock star and writing songs. And in referencing Dylan, that's a part of that, you know. Yeah, so it's a, yeah, it's a very referential song, very, very, I guess, what's the word? We'd call it meta now. But they all are. I mean, that's the point of writing, is you're trying to, that's the reason for writing a poem or a song, is to take something and put it in a form that is more rich than just prose, than just a story. You know, that has all kinds of other imagery and visuals to touch and tickle parts of your head, you know,
Yeah.
plus music.
On the last album, when you saying when Elvis went to Hollywood, that's when everything went wrong. Was that a story or a statement?
Well, it was kind of like, it's something you hear people say all the time about Elvis. That's the death of rock and roll, is when Elvis went to Hollywood. That's whenever, you know, it's something I've heard a million writers talk about it. Like, rock and roll was this pure thing for a minute with Elvis. And then he started making movies and it became part of Vegas and Hollywood, you know. And I was just thinking, well, what if you were to take that and take it to its logical conclusion as something not a metaphor but real? Like, what if the world actually did go to hell? What if aliens invaded because Elvis went to Hollywood? You know, what if it was more than just a bunch of music critics saying, oh, that's when the whole world went to shit, even though, as we know now, there's been 50 plus more years of great rock and roll since then. It didn't actually go to hell. It just, you know, didn't do such great stuff for Elvis. But I just thought it was kind of a joke in my head about, what if we take this thing that everyone's been saying forever and just turn it, well, what if it really did cause everything to go wrong? Like, apocalyptic, you know? It was just kind of like a humorous take on a phrase I'd heard a million times. And no, I don't think actually everything went wrong when Elvis went to Hollywood. I just think it sort of was sad for Elvis after that a bit.
It definitely would make a great movie. You did do the one movie, The Locust, executive.
No, I've done 3 or 4.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Will there be more of that coming up?
No, it's really hard and a pain in the ass. I mean, I just helped executive produce one that a short my girlfriend wrote and produced, and this last year. And I executive produced that just in an advisory position. They're applying to a whole bunch of festivals right now. It's called Vibrator Girl. And they're applying to festivals all over the world. Hopefully it'll be accepted. It's an interesting movie.
Yeah. Why haven't you ever made a solo album?
Oh, never wanted to. I love being in a rock band. I like the jazz of being in a band. I like the collaboration. I like working with the guys. I never could see I never thought there was a reason to make a solo record. I can express everything I want to express in Counting Crows. I'm not in the middle of some power struggle with the other guys. Uh, we do fine together for 30 years. It's not like we're not fighting and I got to flip them all off and go make my own record. I just never saw the need. I like playing with other musicians. You know, that's what's really cool about rock and roll. It's not just me at my piano. I'm bored by me at my piano. What I really love is taking these little skeletons that I write. They're just like words and music, which is kind of nothing, and then get together with the band and make real songs out of them. That's where I think the magic comes in, the arranging. And, you know, making a song is so much better than me at the piano, you know? Even a song where I play piano, like Long December, is so much better with the band. You know, just myself on piano playing it is a pale reflection of what the song should be. I feel like my songs really come into their own when the other guys get involved, you know? And I just never felt like, what do I need it for? I could get more famous and more attention or something, but I'm fine with where that's at. You know, I guess I kind of feel like in a lot of ways they give me more than I give them, you know?
So will we be getting a Butter Miracle Suite 2 anytime soon?
When I get off my ass. I thought I had it written a year ago. This would be funny. I was at my friend's farm. I wrote the second suite. I thought it was pretty good. I wasn't certain about it. But then I left the farm and went to London and sang on Angel in Real Time for the second time. Because I sang on it when it was the first version of the record, and then they threw it out. And I sang on it again for the final version. And I went home, and like a month or so later, David sent me the finished album to check out. And when I listened to it, I thought, this is the only time this has happened to me in my entire life. I listened to the record and I thought, oh, yeah, this second suite's not good enough. That's what it's supposed to feel like. That is truly moving, and like, especially that song, The Man Himself. I was like, I don't have anything in the suite that sounds like that works that way, that makes me like, that moves me and makes me move. You know, so I tossed it and I decided I had to restart over again. So.
Yes. How many more suites will there be?
I don't know. I don't really think very far ahead on things. I just kind of do. And I think the band, this is kind of what's been great about the band all these years, and I think why we're still functioning, is because we just do whatever, we follow whatever we're really passionate about or interested in. Like, I just happened to accidentally start writing a suite of music, and then I got really curious about, well, I wonder if I can, the challenge of, can I write 4 pieces that hold together like one piece of music? And I was like, I want to try. You know, and that's the first thing that got me excited about writing since Somewhere Under Wonderland, you know, and it was hard, but I'm really proud of it. I think it came out amazing, and unfortunately in the middle of a pandemic, so we couldn't really go out and tour it right away. We're finally getting to go around the world. We just got back from Europe, and now we can go to the Southern Hemisphere in spring. I feel like it's almost like we just put the record out anyways last week, because we're just getting to go around the world on it. So I kind of feel like, I don't know what happens next. Probably I'll write a second suite because I want to balance the first one out. And then it's just, I don't know. Today I was in the car in an Uber going to see a friend, and I thought to myself, wow, I'd really like to write a whole bunch of songs for Cyndi Lauper. I've known Cyndi since, I don't know how long, 25 years now, and been friends with her. And I just was thinking about her. I guess one of her songs was playing on the radio, and I thought, I wish everybody recognized how great she is. Because she's really the coolest person, too. And I just started thinking, what if me and Immer got a bunch of songs and produced a Cyndi Lauper? I don't know. It just was something I was thinking about in the car. Wouldn't it be fun to make a whole record of songs with Cyndi? Because she's such a great singer. I don't know. That was just something I was thinking about in the car. You could chase down anything you feel in your heart that you feel passionate about. That's a road worth, running down, I feel like.
Hmm.
That's just an example of something that was running through my head this afternoon. I don't know. It seemed like a cool idea.
I would listen to that.
Yeah, I bet it'd be really cool. She could sing anything. She's like incredible.
Oh, she's in Australia next year as well with Rod Stewart. So maybe you
Oh,
can
that's
all get
right.
together at the same time.
She's just the coolest person. She's been so great to me since I first started out. And we both New Yorkers. Uh, she's just one of my favorite people. But I just was thinking, like, wow, how cool would it be to do a record with Cyndi? Like, I don't know, just something. It was a whim this morning in the car at like 9 a.m. this morning when I was in an Uber. I was thinking about it for some reason. Never thought about it before, but it seemed like a cool idea.
Well, if it happens, you heard it here first.
You did hear it here first. I haven't told anybody else about that. I forgot about it till just now. You're the only person who's heard this.
Adam, well, we look forward to seeing you in Australia in 2023. Another great Counting Crows show. So there's a blues fest happening and some shows around the country. Can't wait.
Me too. It's one of my favorite places on earth. I cannot wait to get back. Thanks, man.